Good evening, and welcome to SideQuest Volume 6, a subsidiary of Project 95, with your host, Ryan Vaughn. Pleasure to be here. It's a sad day here at Project 95 because today marks the first in a line of tour economic casualties that just simply were in the best interest of Project 95 at the time. I had a ticket for the show tonight in Lincoln, Nebraska at the Pershing Auditorium, and I was staring down. I looked at the data and I crunched the numbers, and I determined I just couldn't backtrack that far from a money standpoint, from a personal exhaustion standpoint, from a toll on the sled standpoint. Just couldn't do it. Couldn't sling enough grilled cheeses to sort of make up the difference. So you're thinking about the tour at this point. I've done every show. It's sort of a race to Halloween, because after Halloween there's a 1 week break basically, and then they jump back on in Atlanta in like November, I want to say the 9th or something like that. They did a 3-night run at the Fox, which I also had tickets for. So this is the point in the tour where I have to start, making some tough decisions. And tonight was the first of those. I decided, I just can't absorb the backtracking of this. It was 4 hours west of Cedar Rapids. So I'd be going 4 hours west to then go on the 22nd, tomorrow night, a show I was at. I was going 4 hours west to then go basically 7 hours back east to Champaign, Illinois. And I couldn't do it. So it's tough for me to even listen to the show. Of course, Fish released it through Live Fish in the archives, one of the archival releases, of course. And it's a great show. They were starting to they're starting to tease Halloween stuff. So they were teasing a bunch of Michael Jackson songs this night and getting everybody riled up about, Halloween rumors and things like that. And I don't remember feeling a certain way about it at the time. It made sense. It was probably the right move. It's just a tough move to make when, again, that's why I was out here. It was to see all these shows. And I suppose it's it's kind of you get spoiled by the tour. I'm sure I rationalize with myself by saying, well, I've seen all these shows. What's one? Shows weren't at a premium anymore. It wasn't like, when am I going to see my next one? I had a bunch coming up, but as I mentioned, this this next 10 days basically is when I kind of had to recalibrate. I started to recalibrate the rest of the tour. So I had tickets for post Halloween. I had tickets for the 3 nights at the Fox in Atlanta. And then they did in Florida basically what they did in California. They did four nights, 4 straight nights in 4 different cities. So I think I had ticketed for that. And then I was going to come back. I was planning on skipping the whole mid-Atlantic thing. So like I think they did Hampton, they did like South Carolina, they did a handful of shows coming up the coast. So my initial itinerary was do the whole tour up until Florida, basically. But this next 10 days or so, it started to become clear. Certain things started to become clear to me. And that meant Halloween was this sort of benchmark that I had to hit, obviously. But then there was a week off before they went to Atlanta. And I had to start really being honest with myself and like, am I really going to drive from Buffalo? Because I went home from Chicago on Halloween. Am I really going to drive down to it? Am I going to make it down to Atlanta in this car with how much money am I going to have? I didn't know. So I started having to sort of leverage some things to figure out what this was going to look like. And it wasn't difficult to get rid of the tickets. So I sold my, that's another thing. You sell the ticket, you got gas money now to get to, the next city, the next tour stop. So I sold my ticket to the Nebraska show, and that kind of, again, didn't feel like a big loss. Looking back, I'm like, I mean, what are we doing here? Suck it up. Like, in hindsight, I'm like, why wouldn't you go? Just fucking figure it out, dude. But at the time, I probably made the right choice. But in hindsight, I'm just like, pussy. So that's just a little taste of tour economics. So I would end up, I guess I'll get into this later, but there were 2 shows. See, this tour schedule was so just erratic. I didn't even buy tickets to Minneapolis or Louisville because they were so just randomly placed. It was up and down and left and right, and I just made this kind of straight line back east. And this is where I decided to start that. Instead of doing adding the Nebraska thing, I'm like, you know what? I'm just going to go basically straight east almost, which was from Cedar Rapids. We're going to go to Champaign, Madison, Kalamazoo, Detroit, Chicago, home. No detours up to St. Paul and Louisville. And of course, Louisville and St. Paul are just monster shows. And they played Shaggy Dog in Louisville. I have the tapes of Louisville. I was just like, I should have gone to this one. So you make the decisions you have to make and you live with them. I still had more shows to go to. That was also something that was fueling me. I'm like, it's not like there's no more shows. But tough decisions. But I think in the long run, the right decisions. I'll see you guys tomorrow in Champaign, Illinois. It was a big night in Illinois.